Unbelievably, we are already halfway through January, so I thought this could be a good time to talk about upcoming February releases. There's quite a few, and to be honest, quite a few that I have already pre ordered or am potentially planning to buy because the month is looking absolutely incredible when it comes to new fantasy. Just like in January, I will be talking about books based on my personal interest in reading them and buying them rather than just the release sequence. And all of the information about the release dates and all of the different editions and links to buy all the different editions in the UK will be in the description box down below. And to start off with, I thought we could talk about the books that have already been out for a fair bit of time and are relatively well known, but they're either getting traditionally published in February or coming to the UK in February. And to be honest, all three of them look incredibly interesting to me. And the first one is a combination of two really exciting things happening at once, and it is Of Blood and Fire by Ryan Cahill, and it's coming out on 17th of February, and the publisher is The Broken Binding. And it is truly a combination of two really exciting things. First of all, I have heard only good things about Ryan Cahill's writing. From what I've gathered, the first book is good, but then it gets better and better and better with each upcoming book. There's four that have already been released. I think the last one came out in 2025, and then there's fifth one planned. I'm not sure for when, but it looks like it might be a 5-book series, and there's also four novellas. The first book was published in 2021, but now it has been picked up by The Broken Binding as their first publishing. And if you don't know, The Broken Binding is an indie UK bookstore. They have just a normal bookstore where you can buy regular hardbacks and paperbacks, alongside a special edition store where they work with publishers and authors to create special editions specifically for The Broken Binding. Apart from that, they also have three subscription services. They have fantasy, they have sci-fi, and they have sci-fi and fantasy subscription. And the first two are existing series, well-known and well-loved series that are getting re-released in special editions. And the third subscription service is new sci-fi and fantasy standalones getting released in their special edition. And it's honestly incredibly exciting to see them become a publisher. They're a great company. I have only had good experiences with them. Their customer service is one of the kindest ones I've ever interacted with. Their books are absolutely gorgeous. Their special editions are probably my favorite ones out there when it comes to fantasy and sci-fi. So I could not be happier. And the book is getting released in a traditional hardback as well as a special edition for Waterstones and the Broken Binding special edition. And both editions are absolutely gorgeous. I have pre-ordered both of them. I will be receiving the Waterstones one when I go to the author talk in London in February, and then the Broken Binding one will be arriving, I believe, in March, together with my sci-fi and fantasy subscription. And the second book I wanted to talk about is The Fateful Dark by Kate Baumer. It was first published in 2024, but it is coming out on 19th of February, and you can get quite a few beautiful special editions. One is by Broken Binding. Goldsboro Books is also releasing one. It will be, I believe, February's Goldsboro Sci-Fi and Fantasy pick. I also think that the Fairy Loot Epic Fantasy, the next pick for Fairy Loot Epic Fantasy, is also going to be The Faithful Dark. I might be wrong though. I'm not subscribed to it. I'm still on the waiting list, and to be honest, I have lost faith at this point. But it's looking absolutely gorgeous, and the book sounds really interesting. It is a standalone. It is, I believe, not a debut. Maybe I'm wrong about that. It has pretty good reviews. It's a gothic queer fantasy, and it sounds like the setting is going to be a fantasy Vatican. There's going to be angels, there's going to be demons, there's some serial killings, and our main character is born without a soul. So the church isn't really interested in her, but I believe she will be involved in investigating those matters. It is not one that I have pre ordered myself, but I am definitely eyeing it, and I definitely want to get my hands on one of the two special editions, either by Goldsboro or by The Broken Binding. They're both absolutely spectacular. It sounds like a really interesting book. It sounds like one that I might be interested in. I also love fantasy standalones. It can be a little bit intimidating to get into the series. So if I think that I have enough time to read it in February or March, then I will definitely be picking it up. And the third one is by one of my favorite authors, and it's Isles of the Emberdark by Brandon Sanderson. It is getting released in the UK on 3rd of February, and the Waterstones is selling an absolutely gorgeous special edition that I have already pre-ordered. It is a standalone. I don't believe it's linked to any other of his series or any other of his books, but it is a part of the Cosmere, though it is a far future Cosmere. So I do believe that there will probably be some Easter eggs and references to other characters and other series and other stories, but you can read it as a standalone. And moving on is another really exciting release, and it is Operation Bounce House by Matt Dinniman. And it's coming out on 10th of February, and the Waterstones has an absolutely gorgeous special edition once again. It is a sci fi standalone. I don't believe it's going to be a series. And the synopsis is a man defending his planet against gamers from Earth attempting to destroy it. And it sounds like an absolutely amazing premise. I have heard wonderful things about his writing, though I haven't had a chance to read him myself, though I do own the first book in the Dungeon Crawler Carl series. So this will be my introduction to his writing, and if I love it, then I will definitely move on to his other works. And the next on my list is another incredibly tempting release, and it is The Red Winter by Cameron Sullivan. It's coming out on 26th of February. I haven't pre-ordered it yet, but I do have it in my card on Waterstones, so chances are it is going to end up being pre ordered. It is coming out in an absolutely gorgeous Waterstone special edition, and it is the retelling of The Hunt for the Beast of Juvardin. I am very sorry if I'm butchering that. French is not my strong suit. It is looking like a combination of a little bit of history and a little bit of fantasy, a little bit of mythology. And the synopsis is Professor Sebastian Gray receives the news he fears most. The terrible beast of Juvardin has returned, and the French countryside runs red in its wake. It truly sounds like a really interesting story, and looking at the rating based on those who have read the arc, it also looks like one that is pretty well written, so chances are I will probably be picking it up myself and reading it. And moving on, I have a couple more releases that I'm quite tempted by, but probably won't be picking up myself because there's only that many books that I can read. And the first on that list is Cleopatra by Saara El-Arifi. It's coming out on 26th of February. It is getting two gorgeous special editions, again by the Broken Binding and the Goldsboro. It is a fantasy standalone, and it is a retelling of Cleopatra's story. I haven't read anything else by Saara El-Arifi. I have been somewhat tempted, but it has never been my immediate TBR. But I have heard pretty good things about her writing and her stories, so I am quite interested in reading Cleopatra if it gets good reviews. And the next one is another release that I'm quite tempted by, and it is Agnes Aubert's Mythical Cat Shelter by Heather Fawcett. I'm very sorry if I'm butchering the name. It's coming out on 17th of February, and it is the same author who has written Emily Wilde's series. I have heard wonderful things about Emily Wilde's series, so I have all the reasons to believe that this upcoming release is also going to be good. It looks like this is going to be a standalone, and it is about a cat shelter, and oh my god, do I love cats. So it sounds like a really wonderful, cozy fantasy story. And the last one is a release that I'm somewhat tempted by, though I don't think I will be picking it up anytime soon, and it is Dragon Curse by Elise Kova. It came out in US at the beginning of January, 6th of January. It is coming out in the UK on 10th of February, and it is going to be a young adult fantasy about dragons. It sounds really exciting. It sounds like a wonderful premise. I know that Elise Kova has written a good bit of romantasy, a pretty well rated romantasy. I have heard really good things about it. But I think this release will be more interesting for me personally. It is a standalone, it is young adult, and she was really excited to share the news that it will be a film adaptation sometimes in the near future. And the reel that I watched of her talking about it was really emotional and really sweet, and it made me want to read her books and support her as well. And moving on, we still have a lot of new fantasy releases coming out in February, and they all sound absolutely amazing. And the next on my list is The Astral Library by Kate Quinn. It's coming out on 26th of February in UK, on 17th of February in US, and it is a historical fiction fantasy. And the synopsis is Astral Library, where books are not just objects, but doors to the new worlds, new lives, and new futures. It is going to be a standalone. I believe the author herself normally writes historical fiction. This sounds like a bit of a magical realism. The story of books being sort of a gateway into a new life is not exactly new, but it sounds quite interesting to me. And looking at her other books, they have gotten pretty good reviews, so I would be somewhat interested in reading it in the future if I have the time. And next one on the list is a book that actually comes out in the UK on 29th of January, but the US release date is 3rd of February, and it's Queen of Faces by Petra Lord. It is a debut, it is going to be a first book in a fantasy series, and it is young adult dark academia fantasy, and it's getting two gorgeous special editions. One is from Waterstones, one is from Goldsboro. It again sounds like a pretty interesting release, but I don't think I will have enough time to read it anytime soon, but I will keep my eye on it. And number 11 is another wonderful young adult release, and it is The Sun and the Starmaker by Rachel Griffin. It's coming out on 17th of February. It is a romance fantasy, young adult romance fantasy, and the synopsis is there once was a village so far north that most considered it the top of the world. And in that village, the sun fell in love with her star maker. It sounds like a wonderful story, and it will be joining the list of books that I will be keeping my eye on. And if it's getting really good reviews, and if I still want to read it a couple of months down the line, I might be picking it up. And another young adult fantasy romance coming out in February is A Stage Set for Villains by Shannon J. Spann. It is coming out on 5th of February. It is getting a gorgeous Waterstone special edition. It genuinely looks absolutely fantastic. It is her debut, and it is going to be a young adult fantasy romance, like I said. And the last new release for February before I move on to the series is Half City by Kate Golden. It is coming out on 19th of February. It is urban fantasy dark academia romance, and it will be the first book in the series. And to finish off the fantasy section, I have two upcoming releases of February that are both part of the series. And the first one is Dawn of the North by Demi Winters. It's coming out on 19th of February. It is the third book in the Ashen series, and it's a Viking fantasy romance. One that I have been eyeing for a while. I have wanted to read the first book for a fair bit of time. I've heard wonderful things about the series, so I definitely have it on my TBR. Is just at the moment I have so many books on my shelf that I don't think I will have time to pick it up. And the last fantasy release that I have noted is Throne of Nightmares by Kerri Maniscalco. I am so sorry if I'm butchering the name. It is coming out on 10th of February. It is the third book in the Prince of Sin series, and she's the author that has written Kingdom of the Wicked series. I have heard of both. They're both fantasy romances. I've heard good things of her writing. I've heard good things of both series. But again, the same story. I just have too many books on my TBR, so I don't think I will be picking it up. And lastly, I wanted to mention some non fantasy releases coming out in February that have caught my eye. And the first on the list, I have a mystery thriller coming out on 3rd of February, and it's called It's Not Her by Mary Kubica. I haven't read anything by her, but she has released a fair few mystery thrillers, and they all look like they're pretty well rated. So if I want to read a thriller, this might be a good candidate. And next on the list, I have a contemporary romance coming out on 24th of February, and the book in question is And Now Back to You by B.K. Borson. It is the second book in a heartstring series. The first book is First Time Caller. I have it on my shelf. I haven't had a chance to read it yet, but I've heard really good things of it. And this one is inspired by When Harry Met Sally, and it looks like it's not related to the first book, so you could start with this one. And the synopsis says that it's two competing meteorologists are forced to find common grounds, which sounds pretty interesting. And the next on the list is a post World War II historical fiction, and it is Keeper of Lost Children by Sadeka Johnson. It's getting released on 12th of February, and it sounds pretty interesting. It sounds like a book that will be exploring racism and racial inequality, which both are subjects that I would be interested in reading about. So if it gets good reviews, I might pick it up. And last on the list is a contemporary fiction. It is called Where the Wildflowers Grow by Tara Sheldon Harris. It's coming out on 17th of February on Kindle and in the US, and it's getting released on 17th of March in paperback here in the UK. And the synopsis is it's a story of survival and redemption, asking readers to question what it means to stop surviving and start living. So that is the very long list of upcoming February releases, and to be honest, they all sound absolutely incredible. And like I said, I have pre-ordered some of them. I am very tempted to pre-order a couple more, and I probably will end up picking them up. I just hope I have enough time to read them as soon as they come out. But please let me know if you have pre-ordered any of them. If you have maybe already read ARCs and you either like them or didn't like them, leave a comment down below. I would love to have a chat, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.